Hey, welcome to my channel. If you like what you hear in this video, please be sure to subscribe. Today we're going to be talking about niching down, and this is specifically for nurses and other healthcare professionals who are thinking about becoming a freelance writer. And maybe you have a background in freelance writing or you've just started and you don't have any experience in healthcare. Maybe this video will also be beneficial for you. I hope so. Please leave a comment below if it is and let me know. I look at all of the feedback, so thank you. So I wanted to talk to you guys about why it's important to niche down and really what does that mean, first of all. So niching down really is you taking the time to choose subject matters that you are willing to put time and effort into writing about. Usually you are the subject matter expert in that area, but it's not always that way. I know that when I first became a freelance health content writer, I took any and every assignment I could because I wanted people to know who I was and that I was making this transition into content writing. And, sometimes that shows, sometimes it comes out in your videos. It's because I'm recording right now. Sometimes it comes out in your content, whether it is videos or written material, that when you don't know exactly what it is you're talking about, you may end up leaving things out, meaning that you're not the subject matter expert. And that's why it's important to niche down, because you really have to take the time to invest in the subject matter, especially if you don't have the experience or the background in that particular subject. So let's talk about how to niche down. I'm going to give you guys some tips and tricks on how to do this. It's really not as hard as it sounds, but I know if you're anything like me and you've tested out 1,000,001 things, you still may have some trouble trying to figure out whether or not you've niched down, and you may even find out that you've already done it and you just didn't know. So the first thing, and I did this when I first started, well, maybe not when I first started freelance writing, but soon after, was I took a look at my certifications and credentials. And this is really important because your certifications and credentials really kind of give an idea of who you are. Have you ever put in your email message, your signature, like your name and then all of the letters behind it? Yeah, that's definitely me. And I kind of laugh sometimes because I say, oh man, like I have a lot going on behind this name of mine, like most of my degrees, and then my certification in psychiatric mental health nursing is all in my email signature. And that's a great place to start, because if you've taken the time to get a certification or a degree in something or a special training completed, 9 times out of 10, you're a subject matter expert in this area. And it's definitely a starting place for you if you're gonna venture into health content writing. Okay. The next thing is to think about your work history. So I'm a second career nurse. I chose not to write about, topics that I might have been well versed in before becoming a nurse. I was an early childhood educator before becoming an RN, and I just didn't find that it was something that I really wanted to write about. Maybe a little bit later when I have kids, but I didn't use that work history. So you can focus in on your current work history, maybe your last 2 jobs, your last 3 jobs. If you're someone that's been with the company for a really long time and you have maybe changed into different departments, this is a great time for you to start thinking about, which department you felt the most comfortable in. Where did you learn the most? Where did you grow the most? Where did you find yourself wanting to be present and take in new information? These are places where you may find that you're willing to put in more energy without being worried about or being frustrated about, having to put forth the extra effort to learn something new. This is definitely an area where you can niche down. For me, I chose to niche down into cardiovascular care and mental health nursing. Why? Because I do research on both, and I started out as a telemetry nurse, and then I transitioned into research where I still look at cardiovascular outcomes, and I also look at mental health and outcomes and how those outcomes can also lead to heart health outcomes. So, something to think about. CEUs that you've taken. That's another place that you can identify how to niche down. So any continuing education units that you've taken, 9 times out of 10 when we take those, we pay for them, unless you're working in a hospital and they pay for them, or your employer pays for them. A lot of the time we end up paying for those on our own. If you're a nurse out of California like I am, you might have a ton of CEUs that are due at the same time, something like 30 of them, insane. And you need to complete all of those. And sometimes your employer just does not offer that many CEUs over a 2-year period. So then it's up to you to go out and figure out, okay, well, what do I want to take? And oftentimes the classes that we take, the things that we want to learn more about, are topics that we become subject matter experts in and can write on. And then the last one is personal narratives. And this is really important because a lot of people don't think about how important their personal experiences are and how easy it is to draw from those for content writing. So for example, for me, I got into medicine and science and nursing off of the experience of watching my grandmother, who passed away with colon cancer. This was in the 90s. And I think I was 6 years old when she passed away. And even though I choose not to write about cancer topics, it definitely propelled me into wanting to be more open and talking about health and death and dying and the process that our bodies go through when we're sick. And it translates very well into those evergreen articles that I've mentioned in previous videos, because I'm able to think a lot about signs and symptoms of a medical condition and diagnoses and treatment options and living with something. That's a niche for me because of that personal experience. So I encourage you to draw in on your own personal experiences, and you're likely going to find something in there that you didn't even know will get you paid to write. For more content on content writing and freelance health writing, please subscribe to this channel.